On this edition of NBC4's News Conference, well, it is on. A special election this fall. Governor Gavin Newsom seeks approval of new congressional district maps designed to elect 5 more Democrats to the House of Representatives in response to a move by President Trump to get the red state of Texas to redraw their borders to elect 5 more Republicans to the House. This all in anticipation of the critical midterm elections next year and the fight over the House majority. We talk with Assemblyman Isaac Bryan, Democrat of Culver City, and Republican State Senator Tony Strickland of Huntington Beach. And we get the take from author and Bloomberg political columnist Ronald Brownstein, who believes the governor in all of this may have found the magic formula Democrats could use to recapture the White House in 2028.
This is NBC4's News Conference with Conan, your political source for over 50 years and Southern California's longest-running program.
Good morning and welcome to the Tom Brokaw News Center here at Universal City. I'm Conan Nolan. We are now 72 days away from a special election in the state of California. For some, it's sort of complicated. We will explain in a moment. But on the floor of the California State Assembly and the California State Senate this past Thursday, there was a tremendous amount of debate, a little bit of acrimony, as both sides tried to figure out what was the right path when it came to Californians deciding on new congressional districts for the next year's midterm elections.
We didn't start this fight, but we cannot back away from it.
We know that these maps were drawn behind closed doors by a bunch of political consultants, and yet none of you are willing to put your names or reveal the names of who drew the maps.
Here in California, we have a system where citizens pick their representatives and not politicians picking the citizens. That's what you want to throw away.
You talk about fighting fire with fire and how we shouldn't do that, while simultaneously a member of your own caucus just yesterday asked the Department of Justice and Pam Biondi to investigate us criminally. I took that personally, that you didn't say anything. We are not just going to sit by and let our democracy crumble.
That was State Assemblyman Isaac Bryan, a Democrat from Culver City, also part of Beverly Hills and South Los Angeles. Thank you very much for joining us. The former chair of the Assembly Elections Committee, also on Judiciary. So that was a passionate argument you were making. And for folks who don't know what this is about, give me a second here and you tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah. We have an independent redistricting commission of civilians. Everybody likes it. Right. The president goes to Texas and says, I need you to carve out 5 new Republican seats for me so I can keep my majority in the House. People have to know that if they don't have a Republican majority in the House, his last 2 years in office, done when it comes to the legislation coming out of Congress.
Correct.
So as soon as you see that, the governor sees that, says, listen, we can either stand on principle and keep our system or carve out 5 new Democrats in response to what they're doing in Texas.
That's right.
And that's what this and that's what this election's all about. Do I have that right?
Essentially, except for the president didn't say, I'd like 5 new seats in Texas. He said, I am entitled to 5 new seats. This idea that he is in control of our democracy and the rules that we play by are written by him and for him, that's something Californians will reject. It's something we rejected in the state legislature.
You've also rejected the notion that if you go, if they go low, you go high. I mean, Democrats have obviously been chomping at the bit to get at President Donald Trump, and this is an opportunity.
I don't think you turn the other cheek while he sends blow to blow to blow to the foundations of democracy. When they go low, we go high is a good way to orient ourselves when there is a high road. But he is dismantling that high road, and now we've got to meet them where they are.
This is going to be costly. They expect like $200 million for this, but your argument is that that's a small price.
I would say $200 million is about the price of a gold-plated ballroom in Washington, D.C. It's about the price to retrofit a Qatari jet. It's about the price of all of the golf trips the president has already made, and it's less than 0.1% of the new ICE budget that California taxpayers just helped pay for in the big, beautiful scam.
Right, but they'll say, listen, Donald Trump did win 38.5% of the vote in the last election in California. So you have close to 40% of the state voted for Donald Trump. Of the 52 members of Congress from California, there'll be 4 Republicans. That's not fair.
That sounds a lot like Texas, where the state is majority-minority and about 50-50 Democrat-Republican, and yet they seem to lose representation. In fact, in Texas right now, after these maps go through, a Latino voice in Texas is worth the representation of 1/3 of a white voter. A black voice in Texas is worth 1/5 the representation as a white voter. That's not right. That's not fair. We're not playing a fair game. We're playing a game that we have to win in order to restore some sense of normalcy.
We're going to have a Republican colleague of yours in the legislature, State Senator Tony Strickland, in a moment, but he will say that's Texas. Yeah. We have to. This is California. You're a California legislator. Yeah. Don't talk about Texas. Do what's right for this state.
You know, what I would say to that is when Texas was flooding just a few weeks ago and children and folks lost their lives, California stepped up immediately and sent aid. Californians spend over $80 billion in federal taxes that we don't give back. Texas took in $71 billion in federal money that they didn't pay into just last year. In fact, California subsidized Texas last year due to its own fiscal mismanagement. California has a responsibility that's bigger than just the 40 million people or the 1 in 8 Americans who call California home. We have a responsibility to this nation.
Isn't it healthy, though, to have a semblance of a Republican Party in this state so that when you do have, whether it's Donald Trump or anybody else, another Republican president, if this state is the delegation to Congress is completely Democratic, you're screwed. I mean, the fact is that you need some Republicans in order to talk to an administration that's not of your party.
I think the Republican Party is going through an identity crisis right now. Everything that they have historically hung their hat on as flagship values that they hold are continually being undermined. In fact, even in this moment, you can't be for California's independent redistricting process and approve of what your own president is doing. Those things are in direct conflict, and the California Republican Party has to figure that out.
So the argument was made by Republicans that while these maps for the new congressional districts were being fashioned either by a consultant or the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee or whoever, there were members of the legislature who said, I'd like to run for that. I'd like to run for that. Was that part of the negotiation, do you know?
No, not at all. This was a clear process, a transparent process, one where all of the tenets of the Independent Redistricting Commission were upheld except for partisanship. And the 10,000 comments that were submitted to the Independent Redistricting Commission were brought into this process as well. We didn't authorize or approve these maps. It's going to be the people of California this November who get the final say.
How much of this was about the effort to do something about President Trump?
Oh, this isn't about politics at all. This is about real people and real consequences. California has been getting pummeled by this administration. While we had the largest disasters we've ever had in our state, $40 billion in fire aid was denied from this administration. While they moved money to bolster ICE's enforcement to separate families across our streets, including California natives and U.S. citizens, they're running into our businesses. Our economy is being roughed up by these haphazard tariffs. Millions of people are going to lose their Medicaid, their Medicare, their senior benefits, their veterans benefits, and other things that are cut in the big, beautiful scam. California is being hit in a way unlike anybody else, and now we have to hit back.
State Assemblyman Isaac Bryan, thank you very much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Grateful to be with you.
Nice to see you. Up next, State Senator Tony Strickland of Huntington Beach when we return.